So we've been soiling our underwear, or soiling our undies in the interest of science, and particularly soil science, looking at how good our soil biology is, using nothing more than our cotton underpants to basically see how well do they get degraded in soils. The premise was pretty simple. We take a pair of white cotton pants, bury them 5 centimeters in the soil, and 8 weeks later go back, dig them up, and have a look so that we can see how active the soil biology is in the soils where we've buried them. And the results today have been pretty interesting. We've got a few pants here to discuss with you and basically take you through the kind of things we've seen. So the first pair of pants we're going to look at is a pair from Windy. So these are Nigels pants that have been a part of another CottonInfo video. Nigel buried his pants in a wheat fallow and also in a cotton field. Now, the first pair of Nigel's pants, as you can see, really hasn't shown much sign of biological activity at all, and the reason for that is, unfortunately, they got dug up and therefore you didn't see much degradation at all. The second pair that came from a cotton field have a few small holes and other bits and pieces that are missing quite clearly in them. So we have a small amount of soil biology taking place. Now, this would be quite disappointing for most people, but the reason we haven't seen much degradation here is because it was dry. The enzymes that are involved in breaking down the cotton in these pants require moisture. A lot of them are extracellular, so they need that moisture in the environment so they're active. Good temperatures, but not much moisture, and very limited pant degradation. So whilst there might be soil biology there, it's not very active when it's too dry. And we can highlight the impact of water by looking at some of these other pants that we've got just over here. So these pants have come from nearer to Moree. The first pair here were buried in what was known to be a very dry site, but you can see already, with just a little bit more rain in the area, we got a little bit more degradation. By comparison, they had another pair that were buried in a cotton field that was currently under fallow, and when they were buried, they noted the fact they had soil moisture present in the system. And these are really what we're looking for. There's not much cotton there anymore. In fact, there's no cotton at all. All we've pretty much got left now of these is the elasticated waistband and some of the seams that made up the underpants as well. The bits that aren't stitched together with a cotton thread are still holding on there. So these underpants are signs of a very healthy, a very active biology. There was water in the system, there was plenty of heat, and the enzymes have really gone to town in terms of breaking down the cotton fibers in these pants. Here at UNE, we didn't want to miss out on a chance to soil our undies either. So we asked our cotton production students to have a crack at it. They took soils from a cropping enterprise that was growing cereals and soils from the edge of a cotton field down near Boggabri, which we saw as native vegetation. Both grey vertisols. We put our pants in soil in a glass house to maintain or control the environmental conditions. So these pants were watered regularly and they contained the same amount of temperature exposure. So our students hypothesized that the pants they had buried in the riverbank soil would actually break down more than the soil that came from the edge of the cropping enterprise. Their thinking there was that with less mechanical disturbance, with less chemical application to the soil, those pants would be more biologically active and in theory healthier. This is what we got out of that riverbank soil. So yes, there's nice pant degradation, and we can see some beautiful yellowing of the cotton as the fungi are going to work on it, but the pants that we pulled out from the cropping enterprise looked like this. Wonderfully degraded, nothing much more than the elastic left. In fact, it would be very safe to say that the soil from this area is healthier than the soil we have on the riverbank. The reason being, probably the return of plant material more often with the destruction of crop residues, and again, that presence of water more often in the system. The fact that we're irrigating in that area, and therefore we see a higher level of biological activity and higher health. Our final pair of pants are a little bit different. Not able to wait for their REO to deliver their jockeys, they buried some bonds pants, which are not just cotton, they've got elastane in them as well. They chose an area of native vegetation, and that's worked pretty good. And it's done a couple of things. Firstly, the cotton's actually quite nicely degraded, and again we've seen some good healthy biological activity. But because this is a cotton and elastane mix, there are parts of these pants where the elastane fibers are still beautifully preserved, but the cotton is completely missing, which is a really interesting way of showing just how, I guess, attractive and hungry for that natural fiber these soil bacteria and fungi are. The pair they buried in the cotton field, though, also tell us a lot. These were stuck down in a tail drain. There's a lot more moisture present in the system. The soils are anaerobic for larger parts of time. If you like, there's almost too much water in the system for us to see some really effectively soiled pants. And what we see when we look at those pants is virtually no degradation at all. The absence of air in the system for large parts of the season, killing off those aerobic organisms or reducing them. The absence of plant residues in the tail drain as well. Removing that cellulose as a substrate for those organisms to grow on is probably why these pants have come back out of the soil nearly as nice as they went in. Well, a little bit muddy, but you get the idea. Not much in the way of soil health or soil microbial activity in that tail drain soil. So there you go. We've soiled our pants. And it's shown, I hope, some of our growers and our students the fact that sometimes what we think is going to happen isn't always the case. But that when it comes to this cellulose degradation, the presence of water, the presence of temperature as well in the system, and the presence of organisms, an array of organisms that are able to break down those cotton fibers is really important. And therefore we get a good feel of how healthy our soils are.